Welcome to the IonaHoops.com podcast with your host, Guy Flottico.
What's up, Gale fans? Season 3, Episode 10 of the IonaHoops.com podcast, and it was an interesting and perfect homestand these past few days. We're going to recap all 3 games. We'll also preview a pair of upcoming neutral site games against St Bonaventure and Princeton later in this episode, with Jim Maisano stopping by to talk about the Bonaventure game as, well, he's an alum. Nobody's perfect. It's a jammed episode for sure. So let's jam it today. I know it is.
Ionas.
Hey, this may not be the biggest shock to anyone, but did you know Iona's in first place in the MAC? The Gales are the only team to come out of opening MAC weekend 2-0, with Siena, Manhattan, and Ryder all 1-0. So just like that, Iona's off and running. A couple of early surprises thus far in MAC play. The aforementioned Jaspers getting a win at home against Fairfield. The Stags look to be on the road to another year of underachieving. Quinnipiac isn't far behind in that regard. After an impressive start to the season, Bobcats lost at home to Niagara just 2 days after the Gales throttled the Perps in New Rochelle. And lastly, from Elite 8 to last place, St. Peter's is 0-2 and tied with Canisius at the bottom of the MAC race. Long way to go, of course. But for now, it's time to focus back on non-conference play for the rest of this calendar year.
Ionas.
The computers are happy with the Gales. All right, digital. The blowout win over St. Louis jumped Iona to 65 in KenPom, the highest number we've seen there since the Alabama win last year. Moving to the net ratings, there was some grumbling when those numbers debuted earlier this week and had Iona at 50. Well, what do y'all think now? We're 33 this morning after the win over the Billikens. That's at large territory, people. I still laugh at those who put down our non-conference slate because it didn't have any majors. Are you silly? No one cares about that anymore. It's your numbers that matter more than the names. And the Gales have plenty more good chances to build that number up even higher. Buckle up. All right, let's recap each game of this homestand, starting with Niagara Friday night. A few days back, the Purple Eagles went to St. John's and gave them a good game, losing by 8. Surely, given that New York's team struggled with Niagara, the Gales would as well, right? No. Dennis Jenkins would have none of that. He was an absolute monster in this one. 31 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists against 0 turnovers, by the way. Also 3 steals and 3 blocks as Iona cruised to a 78-56 win to open that play. Walter Clayton Jr. added 13. Nelly Jr. Joseph put up a double-double with 10 and 10 as the offense executed well, making 39% from 3 and committing just 9 turnovers. But Jenkins was the star, without a doubt, and the defense had a great bounce-back performance coming off the Santa Clara game. Iona led by as many as 29 up until garbage time down the stretch. The Perps were just suffocated all day, and even a hot finish against the end of Iona's bench resulted in just 36% shooting overall and 2 and 11 from 3. As I said at the end of the end of the bench saw action. Silas Sunday put up 4 points, and Keither Florence made his first Iona appearance in this one. After the win, Coach Rick Pitino talked about the importance of getting things in order on the defensive end after Santa Clara, and also addressed my query about whether he felt the bench was coming along at all.
And we told our guys, whatever pace we have to play, we're going to stop the 3. We lost to Hofstra and Santa Clara because of the 3. That was the best half of defense we've played here in 2.5 years. It was absolutely spectacular. There was not even one time did they get a look at the rim, clean look at the rim. Obviously, DJ was spectacular. We continue to not turn the ball over, only 9 turnovers again. The only negative I could possibly find is we're still fouling too much. And it's not fouling in the press, it's fouling in the half court. And what's happening is the bigs have to rotate because the wings are getting beat, and we've got to stop that going into the next game. But overall, a brilliant performance defensively for 35 minutes. That was just spectacular. We were pressing the whole game, and it wears you out when you press. And we even just 2 or 3 minute breaks count. If we can play 9 or 10 people, it makes our defense that much better. And look, we've got 3 games in 6 days. It's not going to be easy.
You were concerned about the bench for a while. Are you getting more confident in the bench now?
Not really.
No.
I think when Quinn comes back, I'll be more confident.
Yeah.
It'll make it much better. But Osborne and Nelly, one of the reasons why we played such great defense, they couldn't see the rim. When they drove, they couldn't see the rim. I mean, Noah Tomlinson has been killing everybody, and every shot he took tonight, with the exception of 2 in the second half, were difficult ones. If we stop the 3 like we did tonight, we're going to be a hell of a basketball team. Because at the 2 losses, we lost by giving them. Now, Hofstra took some tough threes and made them. Santa Clara just, they're a great player, just annihilated us. But what you have to do is you've got to play the pick and roll correctly. And with the exception of the last 5 minutes where Walt gave up a 3 by having his hands down and playing a pick and roll wrong, we played it perfectly the whole night. And that's the key. You've got to, it's not the guy coming off and just shooting a 3. It's the plays that happen first, and then you rotate and stop the 3. The easiest way to get a 3 is to paint, touch, and dish it, or an offensive rebound and throw it back out. And we did a good job on that tonight.
Whether Patino would get a chance to get that bench some work in Game 2 of the homestand against Canisius remained to be seen. Like the Niagara game, the Gales and Griffs just kind of did their thing for the first few minutes of the game, and then the Gales turned it on. An 18-2 push late in the half put this one away, and the Gales cruised to a 90-60 victory. Walter Clayton was the star getting in this one, 21 points, 4 assists, 4 steals. Barrick Jean-Louis was next, 16 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. Nelly Jr. Joseph at 12, Dennis Jenkins just 10 points, but 9 assists versus just 1 turnover. Oz Shima really stepping up in Slazinski's place, 8 points, 7 rebounds. Michael Jefferson in a nice game, 8 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. And Heather Florence got his first career points in this one as well. The Iona D, pretty solid again. Griff shot just 33% overall and 32% from 3, 20 turnovers as well. Another nice stat, Iona just 16 fouls in this game. I'd love to look back, but this has to be the lowest number of the season. Only negative, 20 offensive board for the Griffs. Kind of resembles Santa Clara a little bit. Nelly with just 2 rebounds in the game, so Iona really needs him to step up on the glass. So the Iona media contingent was throwing a little bit of a curve for the press conference in this one, as Patino sent new Director of Basketball Operations, Steve Maisano, to the press conference in his place, much to the joy of one Jaden Daly. Coach Maisano talked about his time at Iona thus far.
I think for the most part, I had a pretty good feel for this program. I mean, I know a lot of people here, obviously, and I say that in a very complimentary way, but it's just great to see the support this program has. Obviously, Coach Patino does things in a first-class manner. There's no one better than him in this business, from my perspective. I'm really impressed by the young men. They're very coachable. They're great kids. They're great representatives of the university. They're looking for an edge to get better in every way possible. So it's really a nice transition, and it's a great place to be.
How have you tried to fit in? Like, what have you done?
I've just tried to be a sounding board for the players, for coaches. Listen, I'm not. Iona's Iona, and they've had success, and Coach Patino is Coach Patino. I'm just here to help in any way I can. If it means getting the balls out, I'll get the balls out. If it means helping with a scouting report, whatever I can do to give us an edge, give us an advantage, and make this program 1% better, that's what I'm here for, and make Coach Patino's job a little easier. I'm here. He gave me an opportunity to come here, and I'm here for him. I'm here to make his job easier, make things better for him, and whatever he needs me to do, I will do.
Have you found maybe a little bit more refreshing perspective from the players and their reception to you?
These kids have been wonderful. So I'm very, very thankful for the way they've brought me into the family.
During that presser, I asked Maisano how you take the great St. Louis point guard Yuri Collins, the runaway nation's assist leader, out of his game. He said you don't. Yeah, that was coach speak, because Iona did just that and more last night. The Gales played their best defense of the season, and maybe in the last 2 seasons, in blowing out the Billikens in their high-powered attack, 84-62. The D held the Billikens to 31% shooting and just blew up Collins, keeping him to just 4 assists and turning him over 5 times. And it was truly a block party in New Rochelle as the Gales ran up 13 rejections on the night. This was a total team effort. Walter Clayton, 20 points, 12 boards, 6 assists. Dennis Jenkins, 21 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 blocks, 3 steals. Nelly had 16 points, 5 rebounds, 2 blocks. Oz, 9 points, 10 boards, 3 assists, 4 blocks. Barrick, 8 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 blocks. You get the theme with the blocks? Just a monster performance from the Gales in this one. It surprised me. It surprised the other Iona fans. It surprised Patino. It surprised the players. And with that, I now present the full press conference from last night's win, starting with Clayton and Jenkins and then Patino. Enjoy.
What does this mean to see you're able to maintain the offensive intensity for the whole game and get a big win?
This means a lot. I feel like, even going back to last year, they beat us. So it was a little tension there, good get some get back. They're a great team. Great team. They was prepared for us. We was prepared for them. It was a war. We started to pull away. We just couldn't let it get back close. So this means a lot for us. I feel like this is a step forward for us.
Dennis, again, you were able to maintain the offensive intensity today. What did you see out there?
Well, honestly, they're a great team. So offense wasn't the key. We were told to come out and play with confidence, but we need to stop them, and that's what we did. We played defense for 40 minutes, and we tried to take away all their the key points that we needed to take away, and that's what we did. So I think that's why we came away with the W.
DJ, they came out physical in the first few minutes. Was that an eye-opener for you guys?
No, sir. We knew we were going to do that. We knew that. So we just had to fight power with power.
Were you guys concerned that they were strong on the boards at the beginning of the game?
Yes, sir. That was a big key for us. We knew we needed to gain rebound. We all 5 had the rebound. Just hit somebody, and the other 4 or however many else is free, go grab the rebound. No matter who grabs, just somebody got to get the rebound.
You guys basically took the nation's leader in assists and made him into less of a passer than he usually would be. What was your game plan for Yuri?
I think with players like Yuri, he's a great player. You just can't let him do both. He can't have assists and points. So you just got to take away something. So if he's going to beat us with scoring, then so be it. But he wants to do both. He's a great player, so we just couldn't let him do both. So we knew Barrick was going to do a great job on him, and we just knew the other 4 players we couldn't let get off. We had to contain them.
You guys had really nice chemistry amongst you guys, and the ball moved, the players moved. Can you guys talk about that?
Go ahead, well, I'll let you handle it.
From day one, introducing to each other, at first it was a little hard, everybody had to get used to each other's game, but I feel like we done got to a point now, everybody, like I know DJ game, if he going down here, I'm getting out the way. I understand that. He know I want to catch and shoot, so I feel like we done got to a point, everybody understand each other's game, and we play well together on offense.
What's it like to have a guy like Osborne Shima on the team? You get to watch him every day. It's like you haven't lived until you've watched him play live.
Oh man, I was so proud of Oz tonight, like seriously, that I told Oz, this the Oz I love to see. This the Oz that we know he can play like every single night. And he's been getting better each and every game. And so we're just gonna keep challenging him and keep pushing him to be better because this is the Oz that we know he can play like. So this was great.
Walt, is this a game that you guys circled before the year? It's like, okay, that's the one you have to have.
Coach P probably circled this game before the year, but me personally, I think we got practice tomorrow. I'm going day by day. So yeah, that's how I look at it.
Well, just going off of that, how can you guys build off of this moving forward? I mean, you guys are going to be on the road for the next 3.5 weeks. How can you guys use this as a building block moving forward?
Tonight, I feel like we seen what we was capable of doing on defense. Coach P. Coach Mass obviously came in here the other day. That was surprised to everybody. Talking about our defense. So that was a big emphasis. Offense gonna come, and offense gonna come from defense. So I feel like this is a step forward for us defensively, and I feel like defense travels. So when we go to away games, that's gonna travel with us. Offense don't always travel. So I feel like we took a step forward tonight.
What did you think of the crowd tonight?
Great.
Amazing. It was amazing as always. Every home game, this is what it's like. So we love them. We love them.
Anything else, guys?
Well, so what was key at the end of the first half when you went on the run? You started gaining confidence offensively and making the defensive stops.
Just calming down. I feel like as a team we calmed down too. I came in. My first shot was horrible on the break, so I feel like just calming down. I feel like that was key.
Dennis, anything at halftime Coach Patino said about going out to play aggressively in the second half?
He just told us we can't let up. Great teams like that, you cannot let up. You have to keep your foot on their necks because they're a great team. They will come back and make it a close game before you know it. So we just knew they were going to come out even harder the first 5 minutes of the second half. So Coach told us we had to be ready. We had to take away all the things that we had been taking away in that first half. We just got to play 40 minutes, another 20 minutes.
Kill a fly with an axe.
That's awesome. Love that. You guys did that for sure.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
All right, thank y'all.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
Great game, fellas.
Good job, fellas.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Well, we played like this because of the incredible respect we had for St. Louis. They're a team that beat Memphis. They're a team that beat Providence. And they're a team that, with one of the toughest places to play in college basketball, Auburn, under 2 minutes, they had a 1-point lead. So they're a terrific basketball team, and I think we played that way because of all the film we've watched on how good they really are. Our staff did a phenomenal job with one-day prep. We watched so much film, it was scary. And we played like that because of the respect that we had for that team. Now, when you switch a lot, you're going to give up some rebounds, but when you force a team to shoot 31%, 26 from three, you're playing unbelievable defense with great energy. And the thing that surprises me most is we're coming off a Las Vegas trip where we play it to 2 in the morning, take a trip back, and then we got to play 3 games in 6 days. And this was the day you figured they'd be a little tired, and they weren't. Their energy was incredible. We didn't use our bench that much because we had to put the pressure on Yuri and keep that attack going offensively. So real proud of our guys. For the game, we shot 45 in the first half, 51, shot 39%. Oz and Nelly were terrific. Walt was incredible on the backboard, as well as playing a great game. So they all played terrific, and I'm really proud of them. Unexpected, but really proud of them.
Questions?
Coach, what was key on defense in the first half? You kept their shooting percentage down, and then you went on an offensive surge in the latter part of the first half.
Well, we wanted to switch out of strength, not weakness. Against Canisius, we switched a little bit in the second half out of weakness. So we wanted to get over all the screens, and if we had to switch late, we'd switch late, but low clock. We wanted to take away. Jarrett Pickett is a terrific player. He's averaged 23 points a game for 3 straight games, and he has 3 points. We wanted to take away the 3-point shot of Jimerson, and he was 3 for 9. We wanted to wear out their point guard. He's one of the best in the nation, and he shot 5 for 12, but he had 5 turnovers. So, again, it's our respect. Our defense was incredible. Our intensity was incredible. I'm very, very surprised that we could bring that type of energy with the third game, but that's what these guys are all about.
Coach, it seems that you guys really fought through every pick, trying to go over the pick. You guys didn't give up. In today's game, it seems like everyone switches so easily.
Well, what happens, we went over the screen, and then they run the hammer play, and they come back. And you got to stay with that Jamison. He's got one of the quickest releases in all of basketball. And they've killed every team with the 3-point shot. So we took it away. We did a very good job. They're an extremely well-coached team. And I'm really proud of Osborne. If he loses any more weight, he's going to disappear. But he had 10 rebounds in the game. He was really, really active, just played terrific. And, you know, we lost our leading scorer, leading rebounder, and he's going to be out a while. So this is great for Osborne and Bub, Michael Jenkins, because Jenkins, they get a chance now to play all these minutes, and when he comes back, our bench will be that much stronger.
Rich, Stevie Mass was in here Sunday, and he said you didn't know if you'd be able to take out Yuri Collins just because of what he does. What can you say about the?
Well, we pressed the whole game, and that where you may not. The press never shows the fatigue, so we wanted to deny him. You got to extend a lot of energy, so that's why I kept getting Parker in there to give Barrick 30-second blows. But he extended a lot of energy in that game, and that helped us a lot.
You've always been very vocal about your guards needing to rebound better. Walter gets you double-figure rebounds. How impressed were you with that effort, even though most of them were offensive rebounds?
Walt played great, played terrific, every phase of the game. Walt's getting better and better and better. That's a great backcourt. Cruz is going to be a great basketball player. I can't use Anton right now, and I want to because of his size going against. He can't guard a Yuri, and he'll get more playing time down the road. Look, this is an Atlantic 10 team. You all know what. And then we're going to play another Atlantic 10 team. We're the only team probably ranked in the net in the top 50. And this is going to move us up. And we want to stay there now, and that's what this type of schedule will do for you.
Rick, what were your thoughts on the minutes that the reserve big men played, especially while Nelly was out with foul trouble in the first half?
I was shocked at Silas. Shocked. First, I was shocked that I put him in. Second of all, I was shocked that he played so well.
Coach, Nelly seemed to get more aggressive the second half, went to the basket, made some plays, but what did you think? Did you say anything to him?
Nelly's getting better. We're working on he still doesn't get it in the post moves. A correct post move is when, the other night he made a great up and under move, is when you get this hand and you knock the guy's head back. He keeps going away from the rim. So we want him to go up and under or knock the guy's head back. We're going to keep on working on his left hand and work on that. But he played very well tonight. He protected the basket very well. Got in foul trouble there. It was a tough, hard-fought game. Look, we had to earn everything with this team. This team is tough. They've played outside of Maryland. They've played. They've got a great schedule as well. And now we've got a great schedule. We're 5-2. I think not playing a lot of games early has really helped us. Really helped us because we're not necessarily a young team. We're a new team, and to get all our stuff in has taken some time.
Rick, it looked like at the second half at the TV timeouts, the St. Louis were going back to bench. It looked like they didn't know what hit them. It kind of broke their will a little bit, and that obviously was depressing the defense, right?
You know, fatigue, I don't want to say cowards, fatigue makes all players not play their best game. I've been doing this now for 50 plus years, and if you don't let them beat your press, fatigue is an element, and it was a big element tonight.
Coach, how do you take a game like this to where everything went so well, the team played such a high level, and tell the kids, all right, put it in your back pocket, we have to get on to the next one? How do you do that?
I think I coach every second of every minute of every game, and we discipline our players to understand one game is not bigger than the next game. We played Canisius as if we hadn't eaten in 3 days. And that's the way you play every game. That's the way we play every practice. They know that if they don't give 100%, the film the next day, all hell will break loose. The film tells the truth, and they don't like being embarrassed. They have pride in themselves. So I don't worry about that. Now, we could lose to St Bonaventure because they're a good team, but we'll be ready to play. If they beat us, they're going to beat a hard-working team.
What kind of match are you and Danis together?
You know, no different than Walt, no different than Barrick. Danis we knew when we recruited him we had a great player. There was no secret. We knew that. And we felt that Walt could become a great player. Barrick's Barrick. He's an athlete, great defensive play. He's getting better. Osborne's getting better. Quinn was playing great basketball before he got hurt. So, you always look. I've made a living out of great guards, from Peyton Seaver to Russ Smith to my Kentucky guards, my Providence guards of Billy Donovan and Delray Brooks, and now I've got it once again at Iona with Walter Clayton and Danis Jenkins. So I've got it with those guys, and guys like Michael Jefferson. He's getting better because he's new. So it's what I always go after. I think if you have a great backcourt, you have a shot in every game, and they're a great backcourt. No qualms about it. I don't mind saying it. They're a great backcourt, and they'll never embrace it. Never embrace it.
Rick, can you walk us through the timeline on how Steve was officially added on staff? I remember at the season opener you said your staff was full, and just how did that come about? And
we lost our assistant, became a head high school coach, and Stephen. Look, tonight, Ricky Johns, his scouting was impeccable. He was awesome. Talik was great on all the out-of-bounds plays and press offense. Bob Walsh is an awesome addition, extremely bright. And Stevie Mass knows this league much better than me. He's like my son. He was my New York Knicks ball boy. He was my assistant coach, and he's like my son. So to have a player, a coach with the experience of Stevie Mass, is incredible for us. It's an unbelievable addition. And it was Matt's idea. He said, make him the Dobo. So we got to give all the credit to Matt. Finally came up with a good idea.
Anything else?
Coach, anything more specific about Quinn's situation when he expected?
He's got a bad bone bruise, and it's worse than a break. It's worse than a break. Now, he'll come back. We don't want to rush it. I'm blown away with how we played tonight. I've been shocked before, but I'm blown away by this tonight. Blown away. We were an underdog in our own building. This building, post-COVID, we haven't lost. It's a tough place to play. The crowds have been great. Everything about the whole university is working to make this place something special. It's not just our staff. It's not just the players. There's a lot that goes into a sellout here. I know it's not a big place, but New York has got a lot to do. You know, they just, Gales basketball is not on their mind all the time. And we're a small school where most of our alumni just go down to Florida and live the rich man's life. The rest of us stay back and live the poor man's life.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay.
See you guys.
Okay, the wildly successful home stretch ends, but we've got a couple other non-conference games, neutral site, coming up after, a couple days of a breather. How about that? Let's preview the St. Bonaventure and Princeton games. I don't think there was a team in the country that was absolutely ravaged by more than St. Bonaventure. With a virtually brand new roster, the Bonnies were expected to take a step back from last year's solid campaign, and sure enough, St. Bonaventure lost to Canisius in its second game of the season. But something happened on the way to disaster in Olean. The Bonnies instead found themselves in a recent 4-game winning streak, which included a neutral site victory over top 75 Notre Dame. St. Bonaventure is coming off a tough road loss at Buffalo, and they're going to host Cleveland State tonight before heading to Brooklyn to see us on Sunday the 11th. Who's leading the 5-3 Bonnies this year? A very familiar face. How about Darryl Banks III, the transfer from Elite 8 St. Peter's? He's averaging 17 a game, shooting 38% from 3. Now, a couple guys you don't know, starting with 5'11 guard and Holy Cross transfer Kyrell Luke, L-U-C, I'm hoping that's how you say the name. He's averaging 16 points and 5 assists, and he's hitting on 46% from 3. Lengthy 6'6 freshman Jan Farrell is another key Bonnie to watch. He's averaging 10.6 points, 8.1 boards, shooting 37% from 3. 6'10 redshirt sophomore Chad Venning is the best paint player for the Bonnies, averaging 10.5 points, 5.5 boards a game. Offensively, as you can see, they have a couple guys who can shoot the 3, so the Iona perimeter D will be tested once again. The other thing they do, which might be a real problem for us, they get to the line. We seem to like to put people there, something to watch. On D, Bonaventure takes away the 3 extremely well. They're 8th in the country this morning, per Ken Palm this morning, in doing that. So the Gales will need to be patient. They'll need to establish some things in the paint. More importantly, coming off the wonderful performance against St. Louis, no letdown can come into play here against another quality A-10 opponent. It's a safe bet that no one had Rick Pitino playing a game at Division III Keene University. Thankfully, well, I guess, it's not actually against Keene. Although Union, New Jersey serves as a neutral site for the Gales game against Princeton on Tuesday, December 13th. Locale strangeness aside, this is yet another challenging appointment here for the Gales and Pitino off the short turnaround from the Bonaventure game. The Tigers are 7-2 after last night's win over Lafayette. They lost at home to Hofstra, remember them, to open the season, and then lost at Navy, and just have won 7 straight since, including a win at Marist, and they're going to host Monmouth this Saturday before seeing us at Keene. 6'8 senior forward Tosan Evboyumanwan, I butchered that, but you get the gist. Evbuman, oh, the hell with that, leads a high-powered Tigers offense that is among, we'll just call him Tosan, That's among the Ken Palm top 100, 14.7 rebounds a game. The offense runs through him as well as he also leads the team in assists. So he's one of those dynamic guys you just don't see every day. His primary running mate is 6'4" junior guard Matt Alaco, and his 12 points and 6 boards a game. Both of these guys shoot 50% or better from the floor. Alaco also hits 42% from three. So RD, again, will be tested in every aspect by this offense. 6'4" senior guard Ryan Langborg also adds 12 points per game, and 6'9" senior forward Keyshawn Kellman contributes inside with 10 points and 5 boards per game. This team's strength of its offense, based around, I'm going to try it again for fun, Tosan Evbuomanwan. I think I got it closer that time. And they're efficient. They move the ball well. They make shots. But they are nothing special on the defensive end, though. And I'm hoping that's where we will take over this game. And so if we can defend pretty well, it should be enough, as I expect our offense to get it done in this one. All right, it's time to welcome in Jim Maisano to talk about the Gales' performance thus far this season and also give us a little look inside St Bonaventure. All right, since we're playing St Bonaventure next, we had to bring back on Jim Maisano of College Hoops Chat, as he's an alum. I'm sure his heart is a bit torn entering Sunday's game in Brooklyn, but really we had to have him to get his takes on the Gales thus far and the Bonnies as well. Welcome back, Jim.
Thank you, Guy. And it is going to be a difficult game to watch, the Bonnies and the Gales. I love both schools, and I've loved their basketball teams for like ever. But I did have practice with this. I also went to law school at Buffalo, and you probably noticed in your preparation, Guy, that the Bonnies played Buffalo last week.
That's right.
And Buffalo beat the Bonnies. And I watched that game. My wife teases me. She's like, you can't root for both teams. And I kind of am.
You root for nobody to get hurt. That's what you root for.
Yes, that's true.
I can't. That's tough. That's not easy, especially college hoops. It's different monster. All right. So your thoughts on the Iona Gales thus far this year, and we're going to cap it off with the win against St. Louis last night, as I know you were there as well.
Right. So like everyone else, I thought that November and December would be time for all these new players that Coach Pitino brought in to kind of gel with the returning players. And we did see that to a large degree. And we got to see a couple of games where they were a little bit troubled at points of the game, like Hofstra and like Santa Clara. I had to remember what that midnight game where I think it was only me and you watching on a really bad video service.
Worst video feed ever. Yeah.
Ever. Terrible. My son came home. He was home for Thanksgiving. My son came home and basically sat there and said, how are you watching that? Like, how could you possibly watch a basketball game that way? It was a fair point.
Yeah. I mean, it was a high school feed from 10 years ago. That's what it was. It was
really
crazy.
was. It was crazy. And we paid $25 for that.
Yeah.
All right. So November and December, we're going to be a learning experience for the younger Gales to kind of learn Rick's system and to gel with the rest of the team. And I feel like in the past 5 days, that gelling is happening faster than I expected. Obviously, tremendous games against Niagara and Canisius. They dominated. They blew them off the court. The defense was exceptional. The press, which was the basis of the defense, was exceptional. But last night's game against St. Louis, like we all went into that game saying, this is going to be interesting. St. Louis is the real deal. That is a top mid-major school. They beat Memphis this year. They're a really strong program, very well-coached program. They have several stars. This ought to be a heck of a game. As we both have talked about, Guy, nobody expected Iona to blow out St. Louis last night, and they did.
Yeah, it was something to see, and I know some people who listening may not have watched. I mean, Iona's defense just took over the game, and I mean, this isn't Canisius or Niagara. No offense to those teams. This is a high powered offense. This is a top 50 team, St. Louis, and Iona played like a top 15 team last night. And can you sustain that if you're Iona? I probably not. There's still going to be plenty of bumps on the road as we move forward, but boy, last night was special.
Well, you're going to need depth to play that style all the time. And Iona's depth, while was a little bit lacking about 2 weeks ago, Jefferson and some of the other guys off the bench have been playing better. And Rick does seem more comfortable with using them, especially when he has to use them when Nelly Jr. Joseph got in foul trouble last night. But he does seem more comfortable with the bench now. He complained about the bench to us, if you remember, Guy, earlier in the season, but he's feeling better about it. And he's still got Quinn Slazinski coming back, and one of his top recruits is coming back. So I am optimistic about the Iona bench.
Yeah, I mean they're pretty much playing 6 deep with a couple of morsels of other guys here and there, but they'll be 8 deep when those guys are back, and that's really with Pitino's system. That's probably all you need. Again, with the morsels of Cruz Davis here and there, Brookshire here and there, Silas Sunday here and there. I mean, he's going to play everybody. And yeah, when you have 2 rotational pieces out and you're still playing at the level we're playing at. I mean, he was surprised last night with that. And that's a great sign when your coach is surprised.
Yes, it was a tremendous performance. Iona really played terrific. St. Louis didn't have a great night. I asked that question, you might remember, Guy, about how on the TV timeouts in the second half, you could see on the faces of the St. Louis players almost like, what just hit us? Like, how did this happen? How did we get so far down to this team? And Rick said, if you remember what he said to that, was fatigue. They were not ready for our press. We strategized to take some of their guys out of the game and allow our full court press to go for most of the game and to get them tired, and it worked.
Yeah, I mean, it was something else to see, and again, it's so hard to build on with that when they played at that level. But we will see. Let's talk a little bit about the rest of the MAC that you've seen so far. Kind of up and down. We've seen some performances up and down from some of the MAC teams. Who's impressed you thus far? Who's disappointed you thus far?
Well, I guess Quinnipiac is the team that looks better than we all expected. On Ken Palm, I noticed that they're number 2 to Iona right now today. So that's interesting. I think Siena's playing pretty well. They'll be a threat to Iona. So there's 2 jumping out right there that Iona's going to have to battle. I really thought Fairfield would be better, and they may be better, but they aren't right now.
Okay. And how about anybody that's in the basement surprising you?
You know, I mean, anything that happened at Manhattan was going to surprise me because I didn't know what to expect. You know, they lost 3 of their starters and their coach, and I think actually they've been better than some people thought they would be.
I agree there. I thought they were going to be absolutely horrible, and they're not.
Right. Well, look, they have Roberts, who played for St. John's,
Mm-hmm.
and they have the guard who played for Seton Hall. They still got some talented guys in that roster.
Well, it makes you just wonder what they could have been. I mean, because they have some pieces, and they had a coach, and they had their 3 best players, not maybe down to 3 best players, but 3 starters leave. And where could they have been if they had stayed intact? It would have been interesting to see.
They probably would have been a real threat to the Iona Gales.
Yeah, it's fair to say. All right, let's talk about St. Bonaventure. Tell us about the Bonnies, and why don't you start with the one guy Iona fans do know, Darrell Banks III.
Well, he's been terrific. He's averaging 17 points a game. He's clearly the leader of the team. He's got that St. Peter's cachet, I guess, in the locker room to the rest of the players. He's been terrific. And frankly, they're a better team than people expected because nobody knew what to expect. As I said to you earlier today, Guy, and this is kind of crazy to tell you, there's not a single guy playing basketball for St. Bonaventure this year who got a minute of playing time last season. That's kind of incredible. An entirely new team. So Banks was the key recruit because he's a veteran. He knows what he's doing. He's been on successful teams. He plays really hard. What a great pickup for St. Bonaventure.
And no surprise, they got off to a rougher start. I mean, they lost to Canisius early on, but they've kind of regrouped and now recently have a win over Notre Dame at a neutral site. So from what you've seen of them, how have they improved over such a short time?
Well, they also got a nice win against Middle Tennessee, who's a good team.
Yes.
It's at home, but Middle Tennessee's good. They're pretty good mid-major. But listen, here's what I want to say. I watch a lot of college basketball like you, Guy, and I've always been so impressed with Mark Schmidt. One of the secret weapons of the St. Bonaventure program is the coach. The coach is not good. He is a great college basketball coach. The fact that he never moved up to a power conference is hysterical considering some of the clowns that get jobs at power conference teams and then flame out and they're gone 2 years later. Mark Schmidt is a tremendous coach. He's like a top 20 coach in America. So one of the reasons why the team is coming together so quickly is Mark Schmidt. Great, great coach. Now, he did get some really nice transfers. Darryl Banks, we talked about. The other one is the point guard, Carol Luke. He's 5'11" from Holy Cross. He was the best player on Holy Cross's team last year. And their conference, he was one of the best players in the conference as a freshman. He's a sophomore. He's averaging 16 points a game. He's the point guard. He's really fast. He shows leadership. So together, Guy, that's something to watch with St. Bonaventure. Carell Luke at the point, Darryl Banks at the shooting guard. That is an excellent backcourt.
Okay. How is their front court looking?
So the surprise of the year is Chad Venning. Remember that name, Chad Venning. He's a transfer from Morgan State. 6'10". He's a junior. And, the last couple of years, he averaged a few points a game. This is not a guy that had great stats. But he's 6'10". And he's from the North. So he came back home. And he has performed tremendously. He was the player of the game against Notre Dame. They don't win that game if Venning doesn't have a strong game. I've been told by people that are following St. Bonaventure closer than me, they go as Venning goes. If Chad Venning has a good game, St. Bonaventure wins. Chad Venning gets in foul trouble and has to sit on the bench, and other guys have to play center, St. Bonaventure gets a little revealed. So that's a guy to watch, Chad Venning. I imagine he and Nelly Jr. Joseph and Osborne Shima will have some battles down low. He's a big guy. He's a strong guy, and he'll be a tough matchup for the Iona front court.
And if you had to pinpoint one thing from what you know about St. Bonaventure that Iona is going to have to do to win this game, what would it be?
Well, it's good for Iona. I was told this morning by one of the top analysts for St. Bonaventure that like Venning playing well decides if St. Bonaventure wins. The other thing that decides if St. Bonaventure wins is if they get into foul trouble and turnovers. Foul trouble and turnovers have plagued St. Bonaventure in the few games that they've lost so far. Iona's press is something that causes teams to get into foul trouble and turnovers. So if Iona's press plays like it's been playing, that's going to be a problem for St. Bonaventure.
Okay. Well, you heard it from Jim, whose heart is kind of split here as he talks about this one, and you can feel it in his voice a little bit, maybe, just maybe, Jim. I hope you enjoy the game, like you said.
I'm going to. Let me tell you about two more guys, though. You should know about two other guys. There are two forwards that are very good. They're both freshmen, and they're getting better right before your eyes. I saw them in the first couple of games, and then I saw them against Notre Dame, Middle Tennessee, and Buffalo the last three games, and they were already better players, which we're also seeing with some of the new guys at Iona too, right, Guy?
Right.
Barry Evans, 6'9", and Jan Farrell, terrific. He's 6'7". He can shoot. He also can rebound. These two freshman forwards, this is not their year, but you wouldn't want to play against them their junior year. They're going to be terrific, Guy.
Okay. So we might see some depth out of St. Bonaventure.
Yeah, they're rotating about 7 guys right now.
Okay.
They also have 3 other guys. They might come in for a couple of minutes, but basically they're rotating 7 guys.
Okay. So we'll see if the Iona press, which has really worn down everybody they've played so far for the most part, has a role here on Sunday in Brooklyn.
So I've seen a lot of Mark Schmidt coaching over the years. I'm a big fan of Mark Schmidt. He's probably got them in the gym all day long, learning how to pass out of the press. You can't dribble out of a press, as you and I know. You have to pass them. And I just saw it happen, Guy. I watched on Sunday, Iowa State play St. John's. St. John's also likes to press like Iona does. And Iowa State just passed the ball right out of the press and had absolutely no problems with St. John's press and beat St. John's. So teams, there's an art to dealing with a team that presses. And I know Mark Schmidt will have a good game plan for it, so we'll see how it works out.
Yeah, it sounds like that's going to be a very important key to watch.
Yes.
So everybody's got to get to Brooklyn early. Jim, are you going to Brooklyn?
Right now I'm planning to go to the game. I just have to kind of work out some logistics with the family, but I'm planning to go.
Yeah, Iona's getting the full gauntlet here. We have a midnight start a week ago, and now we have an 11:30 a.m. game. So no consistency in time for tipping off here.
It is good in the way that if you want to drive, there's probably not much traffic in
True.
the morning on Sunday to get to Barclays.
Very true. Very true. Well, it's going to be a hell of a quadruple header there, and I'm going to be out there for that. So I'm looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to seeing you there. And I'm sure you're looking forward to seeing both of your teams play.
Yes, I'll be very quiet in that game. You won't see me jumping up cheering for either team. I'm going to quietly watch a basketball game, guy.
I find that hard to believe, Jim.
I'm going to do it.
All right. Well, Jim, thank you for coming on again. IonaHoops.com loves you, and we'll see you in Brooklyn.
I will be there. Thank you for the invitation, and thank you for always including me in what's going on in Iona Hoops, because you do such a great job.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Right back at you.
Okay. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
What a ridiculous homestand that was, capped by an improbable blowout win over a team with at-large aspirations of its own. And now we move on to more tough non-conference foes. They just keep coming. Thanks again to Jim Maisano for joining us. Told you all this was gonna be a fun ride. Until next time, go Gales.
Thank you for listening to this edition of the IonaHoops.com podcast. This podcast is a production of IonaHoops.com with publisher Guy Filatico. The opinions shared during this podcast are those of Guy Filatico, IonaHoops.com, and any featured guests. This podcast is not affiliated with Iona University Athletics or the university itself. Thank you for supporting IonaHoops.com.